Mother sucker. Yeah, oh, this what you want, huh?
World and stuff, so forth. But I know you guys are really upset. It's a few months now, and I think it's almost a year. I don't remember, but I have good reasons. I was busy. I was trying to, I was a high school student at that time, and I was trying to get into college, and I had to get my college applications filled out, and it was like a whole mess. I didn't have time for myself, and when I started college, I didn't have time again. I had to just be studying and all that stuff, and I'm studying computer science, obviously. So it's very time consuming. But this is the holidays, the Christmas holidays and so forth. We have three to 4 weeks off of school, so I decided, well, let's catch up on the tutorials because I'm overdue for doing some Chrome SDK tutorials. So go if you have seen the last videos, you can jump on to where I left off. I'm gonna start back again, and we're going to write that program that I was talking about, which prints out hello world. So go ahead and open up Chrome SDK and Sublime Text, which is your text editor. I think I showed you guys how to install Sublime Text in the last tutorials, and if I didn't, just jump over to sublimetext.com and download Sublime Text 2 or 1, and then let's hit the road. Our first tutorial today is going to be on variables. I'm going to teach you guys about variables, make you guys write a simple hello world program, and it's very simple. It's not difficult. So this is going to be written in the LUA programming language. So let's go ahead and create a simple Chrome SDK project. So we're gonna go ahead and call this hello world, I guess. Hello world, and we're gonna open it. We make sure that you have this checked off, that this is your blank. You check it as a blank project, and then you want an empty main.lua file. So here we go. We go ahead and generated a main.lua file. It created a configuration file, and here is if you open this up in Sublime Text, you get to see a configuration file. And I'll explain this in later tutorials what this is, but basically this file basically can specify what your application should look like on the phone, basically. So your configuration file describe the icons for your phone, what type of screen size, different plugins that would be on your phone, the orientation of your phone, should it be landscape, portrait, upside down, whatsoever, and it basically specified as those type of stuff. This is a Python program I'm working on. So yeah, and we have your configuration file. Your configuration file basically deals with the scaling of your device, how should open. What's going on here? Let me close this out. This basically deals with your configuration file, so how big and how it should scale up on your phone. That's just a quick thing, but later on in later tutorials I'll go over it more, and I actually have a file I could give you guys when you guys create your games out there and creating badass games to make it scale up to all phone sizes. So here we go. Come on. All right. So the moment of truth. So let me put this mic over here. I just got that mic. So, my dad bought that mic, and I just borrowed it. So I'm home for the holidays, so just borrow his mic. So here we are in main.lua, and first we're gonna write our first hello world program. And be warned, I haven't programmed in Lua in a long time. I've been to school and all that stuff, and most likely I've been writing my programs in Python and JavaScript, HTML, because I was building this website and I was kind of writing programs in that. So, don't kill me. Okay, just go easy on me if I have to go on the documentation. And also, actually me talking about documentation, a good place when you don't know. Oops, what's that? There's some type of ad. When you don't know exactly what type of documentation you're looking for, what you want to write, and you know what you want to write, you could just go to Corona SDK docs, I guess. Yeah, you can go here, and it shows you all the methods. The methods. I would explain what a method is later, and a function, all kind of stuff that this. But it shows you all the Corona APIs that you need to know to build a good game. You know how to build a very awesome game. But we're not gonna get to all of this stuff yet, and I might have to brush up on some of this stuff to show you guys. But it's very basic stuff. I think Corona and Lua is like very awesome, freaking awesome, because they're like very easy programming language. But this is all the APIs that you really need to know. So let's jump over back to the Sublime text. So as I said, we're gonna write a simple program that prints out hello world, and we're gonna deal with some variables. So some variables and some data types. So what I'm going to show you guys is just very simple. Print hello world. And I'm a bad speller, so don't go easy on me. So that's it. And then you hit on. Oh, and when you guys, this may not work for some of you guys. So what will happen here is this. I have this plugin installed to my computer called Corona Editor, and Corona Editor is right here. So, and it give you, as I said, it's an easy way to get to the documentation. It has all the function snippets, the snippets right here from the libraries, the physics library, the Corona SDK library, display library, and Lua library. And you can get this easy shortcut right here that you could just hit Control B, and it builds your Corona project for you, and it pops up the phone, and you could go here to your terminal, and it shows you what printed out from your. It gives you feedback from your program. So where's my Corona SDK thing? Oh, here we go. So you can go ahead here. And if this, if you guys don't have the thing installed, right, what will happen when you save that file, Corona asks you to relaunch it. And you relaunch it, and you come over here to the terminal, and you will see hello world. And as I said in the previous video, I said that you do not write your program here. This is just a bug, to see it as the output. And later on, I will explain a theory of computers, basically, about input and output. And this is relevant in math, basically, because you have a function, you put something in, you get something out. I'll talk about that later when it comes down to functions. Because if you guys are really good at math, I'm not good at math, but if you guys are really good, I think you guys can relate to it. So we'll explain that later. But let's get into let's see. This is what Lua prints out. So hello world. So in programming, you have different data types. You have strings, variable. You have variables. All right, and a variable is just like what's in math. So if in math you have like this equation. So y equals to 5x plus 2. I think this would be like a slope intercept formula. What is it? ax. And not to scare you guys about the math. I'm just trying to relate it to something that you guys might be learning at school or these things. So like y equals to mx plus b. So it mx plus b. But let me explain this clearly. In this equation, right? The one that I have at the top, right here. This equation I have at the top right here. Y equals to 5x plus 2, right? We have something that interesting that happens. We have variables, and the variables inside this function could be whatsoever. Y could be 0, and if it's 0, obviously would probably, and it's squared, and if x is square or something, that'd be a quadratic equation or whatsoever. But you have y equals to 5x plus 2, right? That's a variable. Y could be equal to 1, 100, or some number, like some binary number. It could be equal to 900. It could change, right? It's not static. It's not dynamic. It's not hard-coded, as we would say as programmers. It's not hard-coded. However, the 5 and the 2 inside this equation right here, it is hard-coded. You understand? It's hard-coded, and that means that you cannot change it. It's static. You cannot change it. And when you go into Java programming, you learn about static variables, and that, I think it's dynamic. I don't remember, but these, you can't change these variables, but you can change the x. So let me show you an example of how this is relevant in programming. So I'm going to create a local variable in Lua, and we'll talk about local and global variables later, and as I said, when we get to functions. So I'm going to create a local variable called x, right? X is going to equal to 5, right? And x equals to 5. Excuse me, sorry. Please excuse me for that. So we're going to say print x, right? We're going to say, hey, print x off us. We have an error here. So what's this error? Mean that Lua expected something near x. Expected quotation before x. So where is this? Equal. I think. Oops. Fix that. I think is this as costed a semicolon. I think. I've been programming this a long time. There we go. What was the problem a while ago was this. The brackets, I forgot the brackets because print is a function and it's supposed to take in the value of whatever you want to output in the terminal or the console. And I didn't put the thing. And the reason why I didn't put it is because I'm accustomed to programming Python, and Python you don't need it. Python 2.7 or 9, you don't need it. So that's why I was so accustomed to putting the sprint and not that. So it's very, it's a little mistake. Sorry about that. But this will output 5, and we'll output 5 onto the screen. So we could later on say, hey, we don't want 5 to be 5 no more. We want our program to go ahead and change it. So we want to do this. So we want to say, okay, we want that to be 100. So let's print it out. We got 100. You see in the terminal right here, you see 100. It prints out 100. And now we want to know, you have different stuff in different. I don't really believe that Lua really does care about these data types. Okay, but when you get to more advanced programming languages such as C++, Java, Python, well, let me explain something before I go ahead. Lua would be considered an interpreter language, if I'm correct. And then you have high-end languages such as Java, C++, Java, C++, C, C#. That's compilation language. And what happened is that as your program runs, right, it reads the code from top to bottom, right, and it reads it without checking for checking for errors before it runs the program. In C++ and Java, when you do compilation languages, it would actually go ahead, it would compile, the code would get compiled, and it would check for errors and then run the program. But here, because Lua is an interpreted language, it runs the code line for line. And we talk about that later. Don't get confused if you don't understand it right now. I'm just telling you guys, it's very simple. But don't get confused by it. That's not important. Okay? But I'm just trying to explain what I'm doing. But as I said, you have different data types of numbers inside of Corona. I mean Lua in general as a programming language. So you have integers and you have, and everyone know these numbers. You have integers, decimals, decimals. You have an integer. Remember from math class that an integer is a negative and a positive number, and you have whole numbers, obviously, 0, 1, including 0, and then you have the natural numbers, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, you have all those numbers, and then Lua doesn't care about it, and some programming languages don't care about it, about negative and integers. But if we go here, right, this would be considered this number 100 would be considered an thing right here. But what if we wanted to say, hey, you know what, we wanted to print out a negative 100, so print x equals to negative 100, and it prints out a negative 100. That would be considered an integer. And then you have decimals, so you have 1.56 thing, that, and it prints out decimal. As I said, Lua don't really care about these data types, because if you was writing this in like Java, C++, you'd have to specify that data type, but it doesn't really care about these data types of saying that you have integer, because most likely you have to put like int or something like that, and stuff like that. It's very weird. But say say you're not the numbers person, and you said, hey Sean, I want to create a variable that may talk about, that prints out some text, right? And then you said, okay, so you said you want to create a local variable here called text equals to hi Sean, how are you today? Right, you want this, and you basically just say print, the same concept again. You say print text, right? Print text, and it prints out in terminal right here. Say, hi Sean, how are you today? This is very boring right now. It's very boring, but as I said, programming could get you to some really awesome stuff like Arduino. I program in Arduino microcontroller, which is C++, and I built this. Is just a little circuit that turns on the light on and off. It's very simple. And I have a little advanced project than that. But we're here to talk about you learn how to begin how to program. So don't worry. All right. How long is this video right now? Because I want to just take you guys time up. Sorry, take a look. All right, this is pretty long. Okay. All right. See you guys in the next tutorial. Next tutorial we'll be talking about strings, and I'll talk about strings, and a little bit more about concatenation and how to manipulate strings. And we probably do a little bit more math. We explore the math library, I think. Alright guys, see you in the next tutorial. And remember to download my game on the Play Store called Annoying Balloons and the Magic Hat. And I built that game using Corona SDK. So peace out guys. And happy coding,